all black everything, all black, you know, all black in the name of all my black heroes, all black everything, all black polos, all black medallions, yeah, all black, yo.
Welcome to Left to Black. I'm your host, Mark Anthony Neal. This is a special episode of Left to Black. We are in the studio of the Grammy Award-winning producer, professor, whole bunch of other terms we could throw in there. Patrick Douthit, but you know him as Ninth Wonder. What's up, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man.
Pete Rock and CL Smooth, they reminisce over you. Mecca and the Soul Brother is 30 years old this year. Can you believe that?
They reminisce over you just popped up in my face one summer in '92.
I reminisce for a spell, or shall I say think back 22 years ago to keep it on track. The birth of a child on the 8th of October. A toast when my granddaddy came sober.
And the video, the way it was shot, looked like a Spike Lee film. Almost.
Yeah, right. Yep.
And it was so, at that time, it was one of the most mature videos I've ever seen. The subject matter, the family, the elder statesman in the video, the family pictures, the cinematic, the way it was shot when CL was sitting in the barber chair.
Right, in the dark, right.
Oh my God, it was just
Yeah.
him wearing the African American College Alliance sweatshirt. It was just everything. It had a jazz feel to it, but then here comes the horn break.
My God.
Throughout all of that, the person that caught my attention the most was Pete Rock.
Right.
Which, changed my mind, even subliminally, me thinking, okay, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
We only got 2 albums out of them, right? If you count the EP that came out before Mecca and the Soul Brother.
Right.
What was it about, right? And quite honestly, as much as I love They Reminisce Over You and Lots of Lovin' and the Lots of Lovin' remix,
Right.
The one that I go back to over and over again is Main Ingredient.
That's the one. God, that's the one. Just Blaze and Just Blaze does this with everyone. He talks about which one is his favorite Pete Rock and CL album. And if I'm remembering correctly, he always says Main Ingredient is the one. And I fell in love with Mecca and the Soul Brother. The cover, that the name of the album was so like
their little Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
The symbol.
The symbol. Yep.
On the 2 sides of the car, the title Mecca and the Soul Brother. Man, it's like that's a movie. But then it was the Main Ingredient that taught me how to produce. Again, subliminally though. Now I was just taking it in, and the 2 Pete Rock albums that taught me how to produce for the most part was Main Ingredient and Soul Survivor, which was his
which you can't
compilation,
find.
which you can't, right. So it's on streaming now, but those are the 2 things that taught me, 2 pieces of work that taught me how to produce. But yeah, we only got 2 albums out of them, man. And it kind of fit into this mold of, if grown-up hip-hop was a term then,
That's what it was. Yep.
There were 2 albums that came out that year that just felt super like adult to me.
Yeah.
And it was Mecca and the Soul Brother and Daily Operation by Gangstar. Those are the 2, again, rapper, producer, heavy tones of Islam in both.
Yeah.
There was just, the subject matter was so grown. It was not about being young and stupid at all. It was about it had youthful energy,
Yep,
youthful
yep,
energy,
yep.
but it also had, be mature, be grown, and to be a strong and intelligent young man, And for those 2 albums, that did it for me. They did it for me. But Main Ingredient is the one that taught me how to produce.
You mentioned Pete Rock, and you've done many times in your classes this elaborate diagram of the tree, the kind of the family tree of hip hop, right? Some shit I actually think you need to copyright.
You talking about my free?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so, talk a little bit about, in terms of producers, what tree you belong to, right? Of producers who contemporaries or came before you, but also what contemporary producers belong to your tree.
Oh God, man, I think that the top of our family tree is Marley Marl. For everybody who puts a sample in a beat machine, whether it be drums or whatnot, and move that sample around on pads, that is 100% Marley Marl. Everything goes to him for that. Now, outside of that, once it leaves Marley Marl, then it goes out in tentacles, right? And then now you get into the chord progression, euphoric, jazz, soul family tree. That starts with Q-Tip.
Yeah.
And then under that is okay, do you take the DJ Premier route, or do you take the Pete Rock route, or do you take the Beat Miners route, or do you take the Diamond D route?
Right.
Me, or the Dr. Dre route?
Right.
Me, I'm more Pete and Preem.
Yeah.
I've
Right.
had to choose the two.
Right.
than
Ali.
Anything, and Ali.
Right.
Those are the three that I am a part of that. And from an R&B, and taking all of that and putting it on my R&B side of things, the late great Chucky Thompson. That's where I fall. But then even from Chucky Thompson is Tony Douthit. There's so many people around that time that I still go back to and listen to the records. And of course, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who we all bow down to. But it's just, in hip hop terms, is DJ Premier and Pete Rock all day long, yeah.
What about on the other side? Who's producing now? Do you hear your influence?
Oh God. I don't even want to name names, man. I guess more so than anything else, and not necessarily sound.
Right.
I think my influence is the wave of technology I chose to use.
Yeah. Right.
And if that's the case, then that's everybody. You know what I mean? That's everybody. I was introduced to Fruity Loops by my man eccentric Patrick Williams. It's crazy, whose wife is running for office in the North Carolina Congress, I believe. It's just how funny how life works. And my partner in crime, Crisis, were the two that introduced me to Fruity Loops. And said, you might want to mess with this machine. I'm like, okay. And so at a time when using Fruity was so taboo, and using a computer in the midst of people using hardware, I did this thing called Beat Society in DC in the winter of 2003. And before I asked to do Beat Society, they told me no. They were like, why? Because you use a computer. Oh, okay. And then after the Black Album was released in November of 2003, of course that completely changed everything. And so next thing you know, I'm slap dab in the middle of four other producers with a Dell big back computer and a tower, playing my beats off a computer. At a time where everybody's looking at me like, what? Even people were kind of shunning me for doing it, right? Putting it out in the forefront.
Yeah.
Now everywhere you go, the laptop is the most important
Part
component.
of it, right?
I didn't know this nigga from word to mother from Adam. I was like, yo, son, I don't know who you are, but this shit is incredible. There's no way that you're in North Carolina by yourself making shit like that. I said, you have to come play shit for Jay. You have to. So what I do, I called this nigga. I said, yo, come to New York. I called Quest. I was like, yo, Quest, hit Jay and tell him about this nigga named Ninth Wonder. So out of all them beats, Jay was vibing and vibing and vibing. But then he asked Ninth, he said, yo, I got this idea for this threat shit with the R. Kelly shit. You think you can flip the beat? But he basically said it to him like, take that home and do the beat and come back. Ninth was like, yo, hold on. This nigga broke out just a computer, no beat machine, no little pads, no none of that shit. Fruity Loops, nigga. This nigga broke out a PC, and in 20 minutes, this nigga handed me the headphones and was like, yo, what you think about that? I handed that shit to Jay like, yo, that's it. Jay was like, yo, let's go, record that. And that's the threat that you hear. This nigga's the fucking truth, man.
As far as being an influence on tech when it comes into, production, I'll take full responsibility for that. And I don't take my the artists on my label, the producers on my label, like, man, you ought to toot your own horn. I won't, but I will take credit for that. I will take credit for being the one who stepped out and changed the course of time when it comes to how we produce music now, especially in the hip hop sense.
So I'll be honest, I'm an old head. So I can't listen to some of this contemporary shit. Right?
Not me either.
But as I'm looking at the landscape, right, it's Fresh Prince. He's the DJ, I'm the rapper.
Right.
1980s, right, it's the DJ and the rapper. By the 1990s, the producer has replaced the DJ.
Yes.
Sometimes they're the same person, right, but we don't talk about DJs anymore. We talk about who's producing this joint, right?
That's right.
It feels as though we're in a moment where even the producer is disappearing.
Yeah.
In our sense of what hip hop is, right? We talk about artists, but we don't talk about producers when we talk about artists.
It's kind of a touchy topic because when I talk to younger producers, and I tell them this all the time, as time goes on, it's going to be harder for you to separate yourself from anybody else, unless you find a sound that nobody else is doing.
Right.
And you got producers when they put tags on beats or whatever, it's for two reasons: to brand themselves, and a lot of producers use the same sounds. No knock to them. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. But I tell young producers all the time, please find a way to find a lane for yourself.
Yeah.
Just to be able to listen to a song like, I don't need a tag. I know who did that record. And there's some, I'm saying a few, it's a lot out there that's doing that. K Tronada, K Tronada has forged his own lane.
Right.
Flying Lotus has forged his own lane.
Right.
Like, there's so many, but then there's so many others that can forge their own lane. And it's like, man, if you just kind of want to step out on your own and make your own lane, or even make your own sound, or even do a sound that hasn't been done in 30 years. Do that, because now you got a bunch of kids who don't know. They want to know. But the producer now has really, and I've seen so many posts from so many different people. Producer doesn't get the credit anymore. Producer doesn't do this. And that's usually how the younger generation feels. If you ask us, that's all we know. It's like, who did the beat? This who?
Right.
Who did the beat? So, and that can be to the point of, there's a lot of, vinyl is coming. I saw vinyl all in Target the other day. But vinyl is coming back. It's been back. And now there's no tangible object for us to read anymore. Who did the beat?
Right.
So it's something we love to do in the 80s and 90s. So
because even beyond hip hop, when I was in my kind of early smooth jazz thing and R&B stuff, if I saw Marcus Miller's name
it's on
an album, I was buying that album. Right, because I knew, right, what I was going to hear represented a certain kind of quality that I liked. And I can't say I think that way about, even R&B songs, music these days.
You know, even the young producers, D Camper and D Mile, who do a lot of music for Tiana Taylor, her, those two are really giving me the feeling I missed in R&B, for sure. And they're doing incredible work. I talk to them both from time to time. But it's funny, I've been texting Marcus Miller for the last year about a piece of music he did on a movie that I don't know if he wants to give it to me or not. It's the love of slow music from House Party, and he did it. But he said he also did it with somebody else. I can't remember the person he said he did it with, but I got his number from Jimmy Jam, and I said, man, I need this music, man. And he, God, who did he say he did it with? He did it with. It's not a Lenny Williams, it's the other Lenny.
Lenny White.
Yes.
29. Yep.
Lenny White. He said Lenny White and I did the music for House Party. We scored House Party.
Because they had that group at the time, the Jamaica Boys.
We did that, and let me see if I can find it. Man, that was about a year and a half ago. So.
I mean, just think about Marcus Miller for a moment, right? Are we ever going to see a cat like him? I mean, this is someone who produced, Miles Davis, David Sanborn, Joe Sample, right? All the folks he broke off, right? The definitive song from Jay-Z's first album, right, is a Marcus Miller song.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yes, it is. Much too much. The opening sequence for Boomerang.
Right.
Is Marcus Miller.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if we'll see, this year is my 20th year.
Wow.
And it's crazy to say out loud, but I was on the phone yesterday with a friend of mine, one of my homies, and we were talking about TV theme songs. And we were talking about Mike Post and how long he's been
Hill
doing
Street Blues.
He did the Rockford Files, but then he's doing a Law and Order SVU, and I'm like, God, like this dude won't stop. You know what I mean? So I don't know if the scary thing about hip hop now is I don't know if some kids want a 10, 15-year career in this anymore.
Yeah, right. That's deep.
And the reason why is
That's
because
deep.
there's so many other ways to make money.
Right.
There's so many other ways to make, lots and lots of money.
And music is the entry point, right? But it's not the end game.
It is not the ending. It's not the end game. So they're coming into this and they're staying 2, 3, 4, 5 years, maybe.
But what's that going to do to the music, right? If you don't have people invested in the long run in the culture,
that's a dangerous conversation. I don't know. I have no idea what it's going to do to the music. Hopefully, we talk about this in class a lot. Video killed the radio star. Internet killed the video star.
right?
What's going to kill the internet star? This is where we at. So where we are. So it's like, okay, if that's the case, will it be a generation of kids that come along that really want to take it back to?
Right.
We're gonna just forget all this technology and just go bare bones again.
Right.
I'm hoping so, because if not, like you said, a lot of kids are getting in music, making a couple of songs, making a lot of money, going off into other things, and just like, I don't want to. This is only my entry point to get to the bag.
You mentioned 20 years. If Patrick Douthit in 2022 could go back to Patrick Douthit in 2002, what would you tell him?
Nothing. Because it would change my trajectory. It would change, this is the smallest detail, you know what I mean? Like, what if I would have started teaching and started at a PWI first, right?
Right.
I had to experience certain things as a teaching early on for me to be in a space for you to come along and say, come over here. You know what I mean? And but again, you know, sometimes the pain in our stories, a lot of times, the pain in our stories is the greatest teachers. So I wouldn't change a thing because I wouldn't be here in this moment right now. So nothing, everything happened like it was supposed to happen.
I was thinking about when I first introduced you, and of course, there's so many folks that know you for your connections to hip hop, right? I've known you now for 17 years, and I know it's so much more than that. So let me start with the basketball piece, right? And particularly, I'm up on Instagram, I'm looking at these shoes, I'm like, no, this nigga ain't got a pair of sneakers. What the hell?
And for the record, you're one of the few people in my life that get first dibs on everything. You know a lot of stuff. And I'll call and tell you, like, man, let me tell you what happened. But for some strange reason, I did not call and tell you about it. I don't know why.
Well, part of it because you know I ain't a damn sneakerhead.
That's part of it. And part of it, too, you were on sabbatical. If I'd have seen you every week, oh, man, I wouldn't be able to hold that. But you on sabbatical. We talked a few times. That was it. But yeah, it totally slipped my mind. But it was something that it seems like my career has always been a thing of, I talk about it, I get into the space of it, I talk about it some more. Somebody sees my passion for it.
Right.
I talk about it some more.
Right.
I get connected to a person or people. I talk about it some more. And then next thing you know, boom. Since we've been noticing you talking about it and being so passionate about something, why don't we do this?
Right.
And that's how it's been. You know, I started my journey with Nike as a kid first, but I started my journey with Nike as an adult in 2009, 2010, when making my first trip to Beaverton, Oregon, to see a friend of mine, now Black Jedi Zulu brother, Jason Maiden. And I went to see him because he was the creative director for Jumpman. And that's how it started.
Yeah.
And so we got there and, you know, talking to him, he's taking me meeting everybody. And Jason and I are still great friends. I just saw him last weekend. And still great friends. And then me being there and starting at Duke at the same time, I'm at Duke. I'm on Twitter one night talking about the Sugar Shane Mosley fight. Grant Hill retweets me. I'm like, oh Lord. I DM him immediately, inbox him immediately on Twitter. He tells me he's been a fan of mine for a long time. I tell him likewise. We exchange phone numbers. I'm texting with Grant Hill. He comes to the studio. He brings Jeff Capel the next time he comes. Capel and I, now me and, you know, Capel and I and Grant, to this day, us three, we have a chat together on the phone. And now Capel is coming through here with Grant. Then them two bring Trajan Langdon over here. Like, it's like a, you know what I mean? And so then one time, Jabari Parker's on a recruitment visit. He's at Coach K's house. He says to Jeff, do you know little brother? He's like, yeah, I know the producer. He was like, oh man, I'm a huge fan of his. So Capel calls me and say, man,
come through.
I got a kid that want to meet you. Come through. And it's funny because I just saw him in a documentary for Ben Wilson from Chicago.
Right.
They had him at the end of this documentary because he was wearing Ben Wilson's number.
Yeah.
So that they come to the studio. And it's funny, one of Jabari's favorite albums was The Main Ingredient. At 8, see how this all goes together? 18 years old. So he comes to Duke. He plays a year at Duke. Well, before he comes to Duke, he has to play in the Jumpman Classic. It's like a high school all-star game.
Yeah.
I go to watch him in the Jumpman Classic. Jason Maiden is working the Jumpman Classic. I go to Jumpman Classic, get there, go in the family room afterwards, like downstairs in the Barclay. I hear somebody say, "Hey, I know this is not Ninth Wonder walking through here." And I turn around. It's a guy by the name of Carlton DuBose, the head of Nike EYBL.
Wow.
And he's showing me he's playing Dream Merchant on his phone. And I'm like, wow. So we started talking. And so Carlton says, "Man, I want to invite you to this thing we have in Augusta called Peach Jam." And I'm like, okay. So I started going to Peach Jam. Then I did Nike Academy. So the second time I went to Nike Academy, he said, "Man, next year I want you to do like a seminar."
Wow.
So now that puts me in front of, I call it Top Gun. It's the top 1% of high school basketball players you easily say on the planet, at least in the United States. So I'm in front of them. So now I'm looking at the next draft class. Now I'm looking at the Cole Anthonys and the Armando Baycotts of the world,
Right.
and your Cassius Stanleys and your Cade Cunninghams, and any kid that comes to EYBL before they even choose a college.
Right. Right.
So now I'm doing that.
Right.
In the midst of all that, at the EYBL Peach Jam, I met Kevin Durant. And I'm down and he comes in and I come in and we walking up to each other and I meet his team, and one of his boys called me out. So he met KD before. I'm like, nah. And so he said, "Man, he a big fan of yours." So we started talking. And, we exchanged phone numbers. And at that time, I was carrying around a Busta Rhymes album that wasn't out yet, ELE 2.
Right. Right.
And he's like, "Man, what you listen to these days?" I said, "Man, this Busta Rhymes album, can't nobody hear." And we talked and we talked. And then again, I'm still going back out to Nike every other year,
Right.
DJing event called Sneaker Ball. For a Black Employee Network every February, to the point that I started missing CIAA tournament, which was here.
Right.
So I was going out there, and then one time I went out there to the designers. I did like a talk just like this. One thing led to another. I wanted to do my daughter's getting older. She's playing basketball.
Right.
I wanted to do a girls basketball team because I got tired of my daughter being on the teams where it was unorganized, or I didn't like the uniforms, or something. And so, man, I wanted to get involved because she was really getting older and getting really an attitude about where women stood in basketball. So I called Carlton and I said, "Man, I want to do a girls basketball team." He's like, "I got you, don't worry about it." So we started the Carolina Dream.
Yeah.
And so from with that, now I got other people following my page, different teams across the country, different teams across the world. When I first met Carol Lawson, she said something about the Dream. It was incredible. And so then the people at Nike saw all of that after we did the junior NBA and this and that, and they saw my passion for just everything basketball.
Right. Right.
KD wants to do a producer pack in a couple of years. And I'm like, "What do you mean producer pack? You want to design a shoe?" And okay, but then COVID hit and it kind of slowed everything down.
Yeah.
When we came out of COVID, he sent me a DM on my inbox on IG, and he said, "You ready to do this shoe?" What? And it was so fitting because it was not even a year after my brother passed.
Right.
And I was like, "Man, I ain't got no choice." And so I knew what I was going to do, and I knew I was going to, incorporate the Carolina Dream some way, somehow. And he said, "Man, you got to keep quiet about it for the next 18 months. I'm like, "Oh my God, 18 months." And so I kept my mouth shut and, let a select few people know they was very close to me. And here we are I got a shoe in the store.
Talk about your brother, Charles. The shoe is named after your brother.
Him, yeah. My brother was 12 years older than me. Exceptional basketball player. He went to Carolina basketball school. College basketball season was always tense between he and I because he was a UNC fan. For real. He's the first person I saw that was in this thing called basketball. And it was funny because I'm sending a pair of sneakers of my shoe to MJ, to Michael Jordan. And the reason why is because he was in Carolina basketball school with my brother. Well, my brother was at Carolina basketball school when Mike was an incoming freshman at Carolina in 1981. And when when we rode to pick him up, my brother was sitting around eating pizza with Mike and James Worthy.
Wow.
And, you know, this is my love for sneakers comes from MJ, of course. But, yeah, exceptional basketball player, ended up going to Surrey County Community College because at that particular time, you know, to be honest, you know, if your grades went all the way there, there was nothing you could do to fix it as it is now. The coach of Surrey County got a job at Brandon University in Brandon, Manitoba, and took my brother with him. So my brother spent 2 years in Brandon University in Manitoba, which the 1983-84 Brandon University Bobcats team, which he was on, will be admitted into the Hall of Fame this year.
Wow.
Yeah, like the first, to be honest, the first superhero I've ever known. I mean, he used to tell me that he was, and I just told Coach Nate McMillan in the airport when I saw him. He said, yeah, Nate McMillan was my roommate on my recruitment visit to UNCW.
Wow.
And when I spoke to Nate, he said he remembered that.
Wow.
There is and I have to get it, my mom has it, there is a recruitment letter from Jim Valvano to my brother.
Wow.
Nah, it was insane. Like, he could play basketball. He was really good in basketball. But of course, things don't go this way. We're talking about and it's funny, I just finished watching a documentary on it. We're talking about the 80s, the crack 80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
And crack got everybody, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, including in some point of his life, him.
Yeah.
And so, but he recovered from it and, you know, started working in Winston-Salem City Water Division and was doing well for himself. And, you know, left unexpectedly, wouldn't expect him to leave the way he did. But I just thought that he loved basketball. We always talked about ball all the time. And I knew in his mind somewhere that if I would have made the right decisions, I could have changed the trajectory of my family's life. Everybody who's good in ball, football, basketball, anything,
They have that pressure.
have that pressure on them to do that. But I know he loved the NBA. Like I said, he loved the Tar Heels. He loved the Dallas Cowboys, which I was thinking about him last night. I was like, man, your Cowboys is killing it right now. But I know for certain that he had that thing on him, wanted to go to the NBA. So my idea for putting his name in the shoe was so his name can be on every NBA floor, some way, somehow. And it's funny because now and I tell my daughter this all the time, I played basketball in high school, but I wasn't as good as him and I wasn't as good as her either. And usually this is how this happens. It skips
the generation.
And she plays, you know, she's playing basketball. She's a freshman at Winston-Salem State now.
Yeah.
And she came to me and she said, I said, so what number you gonna wear? And she said, I'm gonna wear my uncle's number, 42. So to have Douthit 42 running down a court in Winston-Salem is like living all over again. And it's so funny because Winston-Salem State sits approximately 3-minute drive from his old job 10-minute drive from his house. So, you know, I believe everything works in circles. Is how the universe works.
Yeah.
But just to put his name in that shoe and for him to be on all these floors and all these different NBA cats' feet, man, and I knew that I was gonna do it, but I really didn't understand the symbolism of it until I started to really think about it. Like, man, it's, you know, is and then now I get to, and I don't know if he gonna feel about this, but now I get to give a pair to my good friend John Shire at Duke, the entire team. The shoe has my name on one tongue and KD on another one. I lost my brother 2 years ago. He was a basketball player, so it has his name on the tongue. On the bottom of one shoe is the map of Suitland, Maryland. The bottom of the other shoe is the map of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where I'm from.
Hold on, she the ninth. This is the one. He's the one.
And I get to give pairs to the Duke women's basketball team, which who I really do this for. I love women's basketball, man.
Yep.
And I say all the time, girls can ball.
You know, it's funny. I was in Baltimore last week talking to my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big WNBA fan. And I'm like, you know, Chelsea Gray was one of my students. He lost his mind. He was like, you don't.
Dog.
And, you know, and they're overshadowed, obviously, by the men's team, right? But so many Chelsea Gray, Elizabeth Williams, and we could go on and on, of Duke WNBA players, you know, who went into the league and killed it.
It's been an amazing thing to watch the maturation of the WNBA. I watched the Dream Team documentary that they had on the women's team. That loaded team, Don Staley, Rebecca Lobo, man, that team was loaded. You hear me? That team was loaded. And which ended up being a dynasty team.
Right.
Like, they don't lose, bro.
Right.
They haven't lost since I don't know how long. You know, but I'm a big proponent of that, man. And, you know, Raleigh-Durham is in North Carolina is one of the hotbeds for youth girls basketball. There's a lot of talent. My daughter's recruitment, her year 2022 was very, very talented. I mean, if I talk about the first Carolina Dream team that I had, she went to Winston-Salem State. Indian Navarre went to Stanford. Rachel Douglas is going to Alabama. Bobby Smith is going to ECU. Like, all of them on the same team.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's this area has really put out some talent. The state has really put out some talent in girls basketball, and you know, I'm just happy to see it thrive the way it is, and I'm going to continue to do it.
We were talking before the interview started about an email that you got from Skip Gates. And I'm going to tell this story about when Skip was getting an honorary degree at Duke, now like, 8-9 years ago.
Right.
And, only certain Negroes got invitations. And Skip comes into town, hits you up, am I going to see you at the event?
Yes, sir.
He's like, I don't know what I don't know what you're talking about. And he was like, come on, right? And you come rolling into the space. Talk a little bit about the transition that you've made, right? You've been teaching here at Duke now for 11 years.
Do I get a sabbatical? I'm going to ask that. I got a pin. You know what, man? I got a little anniversary pin or something.
For 10 years?
Yeah. I was like, well, all right. I was like, okay. Yeah, I got a little Duke anniversary pin. I'll say, man, that's crazy, man. I can't believe I've been here
You're
that
teaching
long.
now at Wake. You had a long relationship with North Carolina A&T. With North Carolina Central.
No, I don't, fam. No, never that. No, I'm joking.
You are probably more than anybody else who's come through the Hip Hop Archive, and the Hutchins Center, the Forever Hutchins Fellow.
Right, that's me.
Right,
That'd
more
be me.
so. What has it been like to make this transition into academia, right?
Oh man, it's
And people don't know you wanted to be a history teacher
yeah.
back in the day.
I wanted to be a history teacher back in the day, so it was a natural progression for me, I guess. But it has given me a place to live in this game all to myself. You know, Jadakiss has this line from in the song "Recognize," Locke's song "Recognize." He said, "Too black for MTV, not black enough for BET, just let me be." That's what he says. And for me, it's like, I'm a little bit too this for hip hop as it stands.
Right.
Maybe if you'd have dropped me in 1993, I'd be good, or 92, or when the zeitgeist really matched the way I was thinking. But I'm a little bit too much. I know I'm needed though, but I'm a little bit too much sometimes, I guess. My thought processes, I take it a little bit too seriously, where everybody else takes it as a business opportunity.
Right.
In academia, I'm a little bit too, and you know this, me and academia politics, we don't get along. I've learned a lot from you about, nah, man, you can't say that, man. No, you got to come over here. Nah, you got to come show your face. It's like, but you know, even with that though, bringing up Henry Louis Gates, he's the person that told me not to change the way I dress standing in front of a classroom.
Right.
He's the one that told me that. And I remember the day he told me that the first day of me being a Harvard Fellow. And ever since then, I will not change. He said, you know, those Air Jordans you have on, according to the field that you come from, that's your...
Right, it's authentic.
That's yours. That's your authentic shoe.
Yep.
And, you know, just everything about what I had on that day. He said, you are wearing your Brooks Brothers suit. And I said, man, wow, this is, you're Henry Louis Gates for a reason. But it's been amazing, man. You know, I'm now teaching at 4 schools at one time. I'm at the Rock Nation School at LIU Brooklyn, where Young Guru is my boss. I'm his boss at Jamla, which is it all works out. It was crazy. On Tuesdays, I'm at Elizabeth City State University, where a longtime friend of mine since we were 14, Dr. Carrie Dixon, graduated from Carver High School in 1993. I graduated from Glenn in 1993. She's the chancellor and CEO of Elizabeth City State. As soon as, you know, my time was up at Central, she was like, okay, come on, homeboy, you know. Homeboy, no pun intended. And, you know, now I'm down there with her, and she's building some amazing things at that school. Yeah. She's the only black female chancellor in the state. And she boasts the only aviation program in the state. And she just finished telling us about her incredible fleet of planes that she has. So she's doing it, man. I'm proud of her. Wednesdays I'm at Duke still. I don't think I'm ever leaving that place until they tell me to leave. And Thursdays I'm at Wake Forest. And the Wake Forest piece is so important because I'm teaching in the hall that I sat in when I was 14 years old, 30 years ago, for the first time in the summer of 1989. Teaching in a classroom where the likes of Maya Angelou talked to us, Jawanza Kunjufu talked to us, Dr. Alton Pollard talked to us, and now I'm teaching the new generation of students. As a student in my class, his last name is French. His dad still is at Wake Forest, Dr. Nate French. Nate French was my mentor when I was in high school. Now I'm teaching his son. And I think, well, a couple of classes ago, my 83-year-old second father, Dr. Wade, came and watched me teach a class. So it's been these past couple of years has been like a full circle moment for me.
Yeah.
A lot of things, man. It's been, I'll be like, man, like this. It seems like a movie, but it's not. It's real life, and the academia has been great for me. Some places I go. No, not some places. A lot of places I go, I'm called professor before I'm called ninth. If it's ninth, professor, what's up? Like it's that, because now it has been attached to me that I teach. And if I'm in a sports arena, especially basketball, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is Duke.
Yeah.
So,
looking back on your career or your life, what's the thing that you're most proud of?
Man, I am proud of the way, and none of us are 100% perfect. None of us are angels. None of us are whatever, but I am proud of the way, no matter what my mom and dad went through, born in the 40s, teenagers in the 50s, young adults in the 60s, trying to figure it out, married, everything in the 60s and 70s, living through the 80s. I am proud of the things they instilled in me, no matter what they had to endure. That's the, I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of the circle of friends that I've chosen along the way. But that comes from the teachings of my mama and pop, Again, from what my daddy had to deal with, not graduating from high school, dropping out, him being self-made, being a landscaper, but then start working at RJR, which that's another full circle moment. He worked at RJR. RJR moved Wake Forest University from Wake Forest, North Carolina to Winston-Salem in 1954. I ended up living in Wake. It's all weird,
right.
But you know what I mean. But the way he kind of taught self-made to me without me even understanding that.
Yeah.
But then the other side is my mom. She's the people person. She's the you don't do that. You don't do that. You know better than that. You don't do that. You don't. She's the education person. She's the person that she has a great rapport with everybody. Just getting that from both of them, like and for what they had to endure, racism, all the stuff they had to deal with, they still put all of that, all the positive energy they put into me. It's probably one of the proudest things, and I manifested that. Even the small things that they tell me, I still manifested that throughout my career and throughout my life. So sometimes I got it right, sometimes I got it wrong, but I think the majority of the time I got it right. So yeah, and I try to pass that on to my children, because there's a difference between fundamental and old school. I believe in fundamentals, So yeah, I'm here, man,
We've been here with Patrick Douthit. You know him as Ninth Wonder, sharing some time with him in his studio here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Man, this was great.
Thank you, man. Can't wait to get you back in the classroom. Y'all, he put me in the classroom by myself. He started me off. Listen, he started me off with a classroom, 140 students. And last semester was the first time I taught those 140 students by myself, man. And I was like, man, how in the world? But I think the years of, I was on a training ground and didn't know I was on a training ground, I guess. But I learned how to work the room, and yeah, man, it's crazy. So thanks to this dude for bringing me to Duke, because this is where it all started. I learned tons and tons and tons from homie. Tons and tons and tons from homie. So thank you, man.
Thank you, man.
All good.
Black lights and booze burn when I record for Watts. And every black like Troy Davis who never had a fair shot. All black, everything black. Culture over everything, y'all. We taking it back. Black.